Hey, welcome. So, you're looking to become a certified forklift operator in Massachusetts? You've come to the right place. In this explainer, we're going to break down everything you need to know, from all the legal stuff to actually passing your final test. Let's dive right in. Okay, before we jump into the how, we've got to tackle the if. Now, you might think it's a given, but not every single piece of lifting equipment requires the state-issued license. The rules in Massachusetts, though, are very specific, and you absolutely have to know them. So here's the deal from the Massachusetts Department of Public Safety, or DPS. It's actually pretty simple. If the forklift you're going to be operating does either one of these two things, lifts a load higher than 10 feet, or carries more than 500 pounds, then a state license is absolutely mandatory. No ifs, ands, or buts. Here's a quick look at our game plan. We'll start with the rules, then we'll walk through the 6 essential steps to get you certified. After that, we'll check out your training options, cover what it takes to pass the practical test, and finally, talk about how to keep that certification active, and most importantly, stay safe on the job. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1. Do you need a license? We're going to look a little closer at the specific state regulations and a pretty key exemption that might apply to some employers out there. Okay, this right here is the big one you need to know. Regulation 520 CMR 6.00. Now, this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's state law. And what's really important to get is that this is an extra layer of safety that Massachusetts requires on top of the national standards from OSHA. It just goes to show how seriously the state takes operator safety. Now, there is one major exception to the rule, but, it comes with some very strict conditions. An employer can run their own training program, but only if they check all these boxes. Their program has to get the green light from the DPS, a supervisor with a hoisting license has to be on site at all times, and operators can only use the specific machines that their supervisor is actually licensed for. Okay, moving on to Section 2. Let's get into the real meat of it. This is your 6-step roadmap, the exact path that'll take you from a complete beginner to a fully certified, ready-to-work operator. So here they are, the 6 steps we're about to break down for you. It all starts with knowing your machine. Then you find the right training, you complete both the classroom and the hands-on parts, you pass that final test, and then of course you keep that certification current. All right, Section 3, choosing your training path. This is all about laying the groundwork, It's these first 3 steps that are really going to set you up for success down the line. Step 1 sounds simple, but it is so important. You have to know what kind of forklift you'll be operating. And believe me, there's a whole world of them out there, from the classic sit-down forklift you see in warehouses to specialized rough terrain lifts for construction sites. Each one is a different beast and needs its own specific training. And this is something you really need to get. Your training has to match the machine. You can't get certified on a basic pallet jack and then just hop on a giant reach truck the next day. Your training and your certification are tied directly to the specific equipment you'll be using for your job. For Step 2, finding a place to get trained, you've got options. You can go to a school for traditional in-person training, you could pick a blended online course if you need more flexibility, or you might get trained right on site by your employer. But here's the bottom line. No matter which path you choose, it has to be OSHA compliant and it must include a real hands-on evaluation. Step 3 is the classroom part. Whether that's a real room or an online course. This is where you learn the why behind the how. You're going to cover everything from the physics of how these machines stay balanced to managing load capacity and all the state and federal safety rules that you've got to know like the back of your hand. Okay, you've done the bookwork. Now for the fun part. Let's move to Section 4, passing the practical test. This is where you take all that knowledge you've learned and prove you can actually apply it safely out in the real world. This covers Steps 4 and 5. During your hands-on training, this is what you'll be focused on. It's not just about steering. It's about doing a perfect pre-op inspection every single time, skillfully navigating tight corners, and always being aware of your surroundings. This is exactly what the evaluator will be looking for. Okay, so the big test, it's broken into 2 pieces. First, you've got a written or online exam to make sure you actually know the safety rules and principles. And second, the practical test, where an instructor physically watches you operate the machine to confirm you can do it safely. And you've got to nail both of them to get that certification. All right, last but not least, our final section, staying certified and safe. Because let's be real, getting your license is just the starting line. Step 6 is all about what comes next. So how long does the certification last? Simple. 3 years. That's the magic number. It's your job and your employer's to keep track of it. But listen up, because it's not just about that 3-year mark. Yeah, you have to renew every 3 years, but OSHA also says you need refresher training if any of these things happen, like an accident, a close call, or even if someone just sees you operating unsafely. It's a constant thing, you know? Safety never takes a day off. And just a quick heads up for you, the Massachusetts DPS recently rolled out some new license classes. To be more specific, the Class 1D is for your typical warehouse forklift, and 2D is for smaller, compact hoisting machinery. It's just something to be aware of as you go through the process. And that pretty much wraps it up. Getting the license, that's a process. It's about learning rules and showing you have the skills. But the real question is, once that card is in your wallet, are you ready for the responsibility that comes with it every single day? The responsibility to keep yourself and everyone working around you safe, because that's the most important part of the job.